Today we're checking out some of the best cases available for the Galaxy A35 5G. I'll leave links down below with current pricing and more information on everything covered in today's video. So let's go ahead and get started. The Scout Case by UAG comes in two different colors, black, or the one shown here is called Mallard, or as I like to call it, blue. It's got military grade drop protection. The entire case is made of a thicker TPU material. It is somewhat flexible, but definitely thicker than most TPU cases. It's got plenty of screen protection on all sides. It's got a rougher matte texture to it there on the sides, which definitely help give it better grip. Just a little bit of branding there down towards the bottom. Also has nice protection for the cameras on the back. The power and volume buttons stick out plenty, so they're easy to locate, and it doesn't take much effort to use these. Probably one of the better ones out there as far as power and volume buttons go. It's got a nice and large opening for the charging port. Weighs about 49 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 258 grams with the case on. Overall, just a nice TPU case that's a little more rugged than most other typical TPU cases. Probably one of the most rugged cases for the Galaxy A35 is the Poetic Revolution case. Comes in black, or the one shown here is light blue. It's got military grade drop protection. They've also added a slide camera cover that I don't think they've had in the past. Nice thing is they give you the option of a built-in screen protector or just a frame with no screen protector. The back part has a flexible TPU material around the edges, harder plastic shell on the back. It's pretty simple to snap the screen protector on, and then it should just snap right into the back of the case. The cover for the camera seems to stay in place pretty good, and it's fairly simple to slide back and forth. You also have a built-in kickstand here on the back as well. So you could put this in vertical or landscape when in the stand position. Surprisingly, the little circle they have for the fingerprint scanner works really good on here. I didn't even have to add another fingerprint, which typically you do when there's a built-in screen protector. They've also done a nice job with this screen protector. It's not as grippy as some that I've tested in the past, so you really don't even notice that it's on there. You also have a pretty thick lip there around the edges that's going to give extra screen protection. You also have a flap there for the charging port. Probably some of the best when it comes to the power and volume buttons as far as how much clickiness they have, and you barely have to push them to get them to work. It weighs about 79 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 288 grams with the case on. So if you need a rugged case, I don't think you'll find one more rugged than this. Now, if you just want a simple silicone case, this one by Folu is available in 4 different colors: purple, light cyan, black, and the one shown here is blue. It's got a soft, almost felt-like material on the inside. It's fairly flexible, but it does have some rigidness to it. It's a pretty snug fit, just moves a little bit there on the sides. Pretty minimal as far as screen protection goes. I like how they separate the volume buttons there on the side. They could use a little more clickiness to them though. You don't really hear much, but they do seem to work good. Nice thing is they stick out plenty, so they're easy to locate. Also has a nice and large opening for the charging port. It's inset a little bit where the cameras are in the back, but I like that there's separate cutouts instead of one large opening. Only 32 grams for the case itself. Weighs about 240 grams with the case on. Overall, it does have a nice clean look to the case. It does feel like it has decent grippiness to it. Overall, just a nice thin case from Folu. I also threw in this hybrid case that's technically for the A55, but because the speaker slot is a little bit longer, this actually works for the A35 or A55. The power and volume buttons line up perfectly. Nice and large opening for the charging port. You also have nice screen protection all the way around. It has good protection for the cameras on the back. Also has a little bit of the TPU material here on the back. That helps give it a little extra grip. I feel like they could make the TPU material a little bit softer, but overall this is gonna feel very similar to what you would get from OtterBox. About 66 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 275 grams with the case on. So just a nice affordable case that's a little more rugged. Probably one of my favorite cases out of all these is this magnetic case by DoWear. I know what you're thinking, this phone doesn't have MagSafe wireless charging, but the nice thing is you can use MagSafe accessories. For me, I like to use phone holders that have the magnets just because they're easier to use while I'm driving. It's got a real soft TPU material around the edges, harder plastic shell on the back, so it's fairly rigid. Really simple to snap it right onto the phone. You've got minimal screen protection all the way around. I also like how they use the red accents for the buttons. They stick out plenty so they're easy to locate. And the buttons are made of plastic, so they have some nice clickiness to them. You can see how it's frosted on the back, so you can still see the color of the phone somewhat. It's got nice protection for the cameras on the back. It also has a soft touch material all over the case, so I like the grip on it. And as you can see, the magnet on the back is fairly strong, so it's gonna work with the most MagSafe wireless accessories. It also has a nice and large opening for the charging port. Definitely one of the lightest cases at only 26 grams. Weighs 236 grams with the case on. Overall, just a really nice thin case that you can use with MagSafe accessories for the A35 5G. Now the Liquid Air case by Spigen is going to be one of the thinnest cases available, and it comes in two different colors, matte black, or the one shown here is abyss green. The whole case is made of a softer TPU material, so it's pretty flexible. It's got just enough screen protection all the way around. They also put some ridges on the power button, which definitely helps in locating it without looking. The power and volume buttons work pretty good on here as well. Definitely one of the better ones as far as clickiness on the buttons. It's got a matte texture on the back, plus they add some ridges on the sides to help give it a little bit more grip as well. You've also got just enough protection for the cameras on the back, and the case is thick enough so it doesn't rock back and forth as much from the cameras. You've also got an extra large cutout there for the charging port. Only about 34 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 244 grams with the case on. Overall, just a really nice thin case with pretty good grip by Spigen. The Fusion X case by Rinky comes in two different options, camo black, and the one shown here is just black. On this version, it's clear, so you can see the color of your phone on the back. And then it has a softer black TPU material around the edges. Definitely has a more rugged style to it. The one thing I do like about this case over a standard clear case is this one has better grip around the edges. They put some nice little ridges or bumps on the sides that help give it extra grip so it doesn't feel as slippery as most of your typical clear cases do. It's got really good protection for the cameras on the back, and because of the design of this, you don't have to worry about the phone rocking back and forth. Pretty minimal screen protection on the sides, but you get extra on the top and bottom. There's not much sound or clickiness to the buttons, but as you can see, they stick out plenty and they're easy to use. Nice job for the charging port, extra large opening there. Only about 35 grams for the case itself, so fairly lightweight. Weighs in at 244 grams with the case on. Overall, just a really nice option if you want a clear case, but yet still have really good grip and more of a unique design to it. If you want a case that's somewhat rugged but yet still fairly thin, the Spigen Tough Armor case comes in two different colors, black, and the one shown here is abyss green. This one has military grade drop protection. This one is a hybrid case where it has a softer TPU material on the inside, harder plastic shell on the back. It's actually pretty rigid once you put it together. Doesn't really flex at all. Pretty minimal screen protection, has kind of a flat edge to it. The softer TPU material does have some nice grip to it. It also has a soft touch material on the back as well. It also has nice protection for the cameras on the back, and because of the thickness of the case, it pretty much eliminates the rocking back and forth from the cameras. Also has an extra large opening for the charging port. This is probably still one of my favorites as far as the power button goes. I just like how they have the ridges. It just feels satisfying when you're hitting the power button, and the volume buttons have some nice clickiness to them as well. You also have a metal kickstand built into the back. Definitely comes in handy when watching movies or videos, and it gives you two different angles when in the stand position. The case itself weighs about 61 grams. Weighs in at 269 grams with the case on. Overall, just a nice, somewhat rugged case by Spigen. Now, if you don't want to cover up the phone, the Spigen Ultra Hybrid clear case, it's a little bit thicker than some of the other clear cases out there. It's got a softer TPU material around the edges, harder plastic shell on the back. It's got a little bit of branding there on the side, but it's just a nice and clean design to it. It also makes the phone nice and flat on the back, so you don't have to worry about it rocking back and forth from the cameras. Has an oversized cutout for the charging port. They also add some texture on the power button, which makes it a little easier to locate. Volume buttons have some nice clickiness to them as well. It's only about 37 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 244 grams with the case on. It also has just enough screen protection on all sides. It does have some grip to it. I don't feel like clear cases usually have the best grip, but this one's fairly decent in my opinion. I feel like this is one of the better options if you want a clear case by Spigen. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.